Friday, September 17th here on the Taking Vegas podcast. Going to break down all of these games for the weekend. Going to speak about last night's debacle with the New York Giants literally handing a game to Washington. Got you some free picks as well. Plus, Richie Tulo from SyndicatedPlayersClub.com has a monster football release for the weekend. So there are big things going on. Didn't really do a lot of podcasts this week, but we're going to do a great one here today. A bunch of free picks, bunch of good games to speak about. Visit TakingVegas.com right now. You can get some free picks there. If you visit us on Instagram at Taking Vegas, all you have to do is follow us, DM us the word free. The social media team will take care of you. 7 days of free picks, no questions asked. Richie Tulo joins me on this podcast as always. I am Chris Hodge, and he has a monster football play available for the weekend over at SyndicatedPlayersClub.com. We'll get to that in just a moment. So before we get going with some free picks, because we got a bunch of free picks we're going to give out for today on this podcast, let's just talk about last night. The Giants something up once again. They had 5 different opportunities. Literally 5 different plays could have went their way to win that game last night. And still, despite all that, despite finally getting a solid game from Daniel Jones, they still found a way to lose. Now, look, we were on the Giants last night plus 3.5, but damn, Richie, they should have won that game outright.
Is it maybe because them and the Jets cohabit the same stadium?
So we're blaming the Jets for this.
Well, it's not that bad of an excuse, I guess.
How bad is New York football?
But, Chris, the more important thing here is, how could that guy jump offside? He was an interior lineman. Not only does he see the ball, he sees the hand on the ball being ready to snap. There's no possible excuse for that to happen. I mean, if that's an outside bull rusher or whatever the case may be.
No, it's not even. You can't. Don't jump off sides on a game-winning field goal. Force the guy to make the kick.
You just can't. You just can't.
It's really unreal what the Giants pull off, and we live here in New York, so we get it. I know you're over in Vegas more often than not, but this is what they did last night. Yeah, for bettors, great, they covered the game. But if you're a fan of the Giants, I mean, you just have to be beside yourself. I mean, you have to be beside yourself.
Well, they got it. I mean, listen, between them and the Jets, they got it. I mean, listen, the fans are going to be there because the PSLs are sold out year in and year out, and you got to be grandfathered into getting a box of 2 or a box of 4, and everybody knows that.
So let me tell you this, though. I was at the game last week against Denver. I was sitting in my reps box, right? And it was such a bad football game to watch. And we weren't on the game either which way versus Denver. But my son and I, we left that game in between the third and fourth quarter, okay? I'm like, let's just get out of here. This game sucks. I don't want to hit traffic because getting out of the Meadowlands is insane, right? I hit traffic getting out of that game. That's how many people left when I left. I couldn't believe the traffic jam I was in. And they mentioned that the next day how the whole stadium just emptied out. That's how bad the football was. Now, last night they played a good football game, but they played it against a bad team. Washington's not a good football team. And they just created a way to lose.
Well, I mean, you know, on the reverse side of the coin, I mean, here in Vegas, I see people come in all the time and make their plays, you know, here in the sports books. And what happens is once they leave, I mean, they walk in with the biggest smiles in the world when they get off the plane, and the frowns. They're so, I mean, some of these people are so beaten up and downtrodden as the day progresses and their weekend progresses that they can't wait to get on that plane, especially when they play the early games on a Sunday and they know their team has no shot to ever come back into the game. And they know they got to wait 6 hours for a flight. All they want to do is get out of there.
You know what's so funny? You know what ran through my mind when you made that analogy of how they come happy and they leave like just distraught? It's like a poor sap of a man, like a poor guy working hard all week, coming home, finally wants to spend time with his wife or significant other, and just finds her getting slammed by his best friend when he walks in the door.
But you want to know something? Here's the way you got to look at things. For the people that listen to our podcast on a daily basis, and they're all guys, and we speak to them, I speak to them, my people speak to them all the time. These people know. Now, we'll always give people free games for us, just to give us an opportunity to talk to people and find out what's in their head. But understand one thing. These people that call us and listen to our show, they know in their heart of hearts, they can never, and I mean never, ever, ever, ever win on their own. They know that. Otherwise,
Do they know that?
They know it.
They know it, right?
Then why are they calling us? Why would they reach out to us?
I agree, man.
I mean,
agree.
you got to understand something. The betting world it's a risk-averse mentality. I think, everybody knows what risk-averse is, and I hope everybody knows. But unfortunately, that's the worst mindset to have when you get involved with a new project that you expect big things out of. I mean, right away you're going to look in a negative fashion for something. Folks, I'm telling you something right now. And I don't like the carnival bark at all. I love something coming up this weekend. I mean, you got to be part of what I got. Chris has always got the best stuff. He's got the best free games I've ever seen in my life. But in reality, the people that really want to make money, they want to talk. They want to talk, and more importantly, we want to hear dialogue from them.
Let me cut you off a little there. The free games have been great.
Great.
What doesn't come with the free games is the most important thing. The most important aspect of that is managing your money.
Exactly.
Because I could give you free games at the wazoo, and you can win, but if you're going to turn around and put $500 on a free game I give you and then put $1,000 on one of your own games and lose, well, the difference is the free game, man.
But that's where the education process comes into play. Listen, how many people would we say that we've spoken to in the many years that I've done this and the many years that you've done this, really have an education process towards this? I mean, most people go to college to get an education to go to their specific field so that they become a success in life. Listen, the only way to get an education in the betting world,
it don't go well.
Listen, they don't have courses in college for it. And I got news for you. I'm going to tell you, and I will go out on a limb. Mark my words. Mark my words. When sports betting becomes illegal in every state in the union, they will teach classes. They will teach classes on the aspect of sports betting and wagering.
You know what? It would be fascinating. They definitely need, if enough people are doing it, they need to definitely educate people on it, which is what we try to do. So it is Friday. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Richie, before I get to your big game for the weekend, let's tackle Friday. UCF goes over to Louisville tonight. Louisville's a 7-point underdog. Louisville had, a pretty they have some talent on their team, and then UCF's breaking in a new coaching staff. So you never know what UCF is, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, for years, you just never know what they are.
They get the crumbs from all the other Florida schools.
Yes, and they're talented. Don't get me wrong. But as a team, are they just a Group 5 team that's going to beat up on that, and then when they play a real team, they lose? Like, you just never know what they are.
Wasn't Louisville that same monster 20 years ago?
Correct. Hey, teams go through this shit. So,
right.
It is what it is. And then you have an interesting game with Maryland and Illinois tonight. Illinois is once again a 7-point underdog. So, what they did with Illinois is just comical to me because they made Illinois a 7-point underdog against Nebraska. They won. Then they made them a 7-point favorite or a 6-point favorite versus UTSA. They lost. They don't know what to do with Illinois. So, Illinois is once again a 7-point home underdog tonight, which I find fascinating. You could go to takingvegas.com right now, and you can get a couple free picks on those games. You could also visit us on Instagram at takingvegas. DM us the word free, and you'll get some more free picks each and every day from the social media team. So let's get to tomorrow. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to run down every game because there's 1,000 of them. But I did Sean Salisbury's show this morning down in Houston. And Sean and I have something called the Taking Vegas Pick 6, where I pick 3 games, he picks 3 games, and we compete against one another. So I'm going to give the 3 free picks that I gave on Sean's show. I'm going to give them here on the podcast. But before I do that, over at syndicatedplayersclub.com, you have a monster football release. Now, in week 1, you go with the under UTEP, New Mexico State, 59. That score was 30-3, not even close. Week 2, you go with the under Baylor, Texas State, final score 29-20, total was 52.5. You guys drove that line down. Last week, the over in the North Carolina-Georgia State game, now this was funny to me because that started at 60. You guys started getting on that game Tuesday, Wednesday. You drove it up to 66, and I was texting you, bothering the hell out of you. Hey, Richie, are we still on this game? Like, we have a big middle here. And I got the text. Would you just knock it off as like the text you were sending me? This game is going into the 70s. You hit the over in the Georgia State.
Well, 70 was the number. That was my target number, was 70. That's what I told you when I gave it to you at 60.
Correct. So now just take a moment because you got a big game for the weekend that's going to basically dwarf those first 3 winners.
Listen, folks, I'm telling you right now, all you have to do is go to my website, look at my overall record for the year. I mean, there's only been, 42-11 is 53-2. There's only 55 games in a matter. How many days has transpired here so far in this calendar?
270.
270, 280. I mean, it tells you that more times than not, less than 20% of the time, 20% of any given day during the course of a calendar year is when we're going to make bets. We don't have to make a lot of bets. We have to make the right bets. That's the key to doing it the right way. And doing this the right way depends upon the individual, obviously. It depends on my philosophy of betting, that always less has always been more. And it's all you got to do is just do yourself a favor. When you bet your own games, and we can't stop people from betting their own games. It just doesn't happen because we recommend it. But if they want to bet their own games, let them bet them for shits and giggles and bet $50, $100. You want to sit back and drink a case of beer with your friends and smoke a nice cigar, be my guest. But don't take the money that we make and have you bet it. Because all of a sudden now, wow, my pockets are kind of full. I'll take a shot on my own. And after everything is said and done, now I'm chasing money that I shouldn't be chasing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like we spoke about just a few minutes ago, the education of it. What we're going to do for you is not just win, right? It's going to get your mindset on this is how you have to win, okay? And don't blow the winnings, because then it's not worth getting involved. But your big play, I mean, if people aren't on it, it's two things that are going to happen. If they're on it, right, they're going to be annoyed that they didn't bet more on it because you can't bet enough on this game. If they're not on it, they're really going to be annoyed that they didn't even win on the game. So it's just a matter of going to syndicatedplayersclub.com right now. And you know why I love that site? There's no bells and whistles. Nope. That site is just there for two reasons: to explain what you do and to post the games that you release. That's the only reason why that site is there.
It's point blank. I mean, folks, here's what you got to do. You just have to understand that everything in life, in the betting world, falls on the person that we speak to. Their devotion to doing it right, how much they really, really want to win, and not making mistakes. And the unfortunate thing is so many people out there. Listen, all I can tell you is this. When you do something and we do things right, we don't like to do things half-assed, right, Chris? It's like going. I mean, you're gonna go to your wife's car needs a set of brakes. I mean, what are you gonna do? The guy down the block is doing brakes for $80, and when you can go to the real mechanic who's doing it for $400, you're gonna trust the guy who's doing brakes for $80, and then your wife calls you up. Oh shit, I couldn't get the car stopped today.
Oh, I crashed into a tree.
Yeah, so I mean, listen. Cheaper isn't always better, especially in our world. That's for sure.
Cheaper is definitely never better. Like I always wonder why that's so cheap. That's the first thing I go, wow, that's a great deal. Why? What's going on? You see this with the cruise lines. Oh, come on board, 7 days, $599. Then they put you in the room that the waves are crashing against the. Like, get the hell out of here! I'm not dealing with this nonsense. So, listen, cheaper is not always better. You want to get involved with Richie's game right now? Visit syndicatedplayersclub.com. Read all about him. Give him a call. For our free picks, you go to takingvegas.com. And again, on Instagram, just visit us at takingvegas. DM us the word free. You'll get free picks from the social media team each and every day of the week, 7 days. Something that really pisses me off. I hate hearing this because it just shows how, I don't want to say stupid. Give me another word for stupid. Ignorant? What's another word for it?
Like naive?
Nah, that's like, it's just imbecilic. Like, you guys are imbeciles. Like, I don't even know how to describe this, but I hate it when people call in, they give these odds makers credit. Like, oh, they sure hit the number on that game, right? I can't stand that. People don't realize how bad odds makers are at their job. They're not good, right? Their job is to trick people into believing that both sides can win the game against the point spread.
Exactly.
Their job is to not put an accurate number on a game because they never do that. Right? And if you look at
what a lot of people don't understand what you're saying right now, they want it to fall in the 10th percentile either side.
Yeah, they're big. That's all they want. They don't care about anything else. And so let me give you some numbers, right? So if the Giants don't do what the Giants do last night, because the Giants are supposed to win that game outright, you have another outright underdog winner.
They're kind of good at what they do, though.
In terms of what?
Sucking,
right. They're bad. And listeners and guys who call in, they give these guys so much credit. Like, you can't beat them. What do you mean? You can't beat someone that stinks?
But how about the guy that's their coach? He was a special teams coach. That was his game.
Bro, here's the deal, right? Over the first 17 games of the NFL season, 13 underdogs have covered. 13. 9 of those underdogs won outright. It should have been 10 last night. You had lines that weren't New Orleans line wasn't even close. Okay, you had lines all over the place that weren't even close. But let's focus on college because today's a college day, and obviously you got to get through tomorrow before you get to the NFL on Sunday.
And corrections are coming soon. Remember that.
Corrections are coming, but that's based on what the public bets. So think about this.
Public perception, yes.
There's been 95 main board college football games. 95. I don't give a shit about the extra games. That's meaningless. 95 main board games. Of those 95 games, if you gave the odds maker 7 points either which way and just said, are they within 7 points of the spread they posted, they've only won 28 times. If I'm giving them 7 points, not even saying, okay, hit this line. If I give them 7 points, they're 28-67. That tells you right there, lines aren't even close. They don't know what they're doing. And guys out there, they just give them all this credit. It drives me up a wall. Like, why are you giving them credit? They're not good. So
I can't disagree with you.
No one can if you know what you're talking about. So that's number one. Number two, money management. It drives me crazy. Guys will call up. They'll get 4 games. They'll go 4-0. They'll be up, I don't know, 2,000, 500 a game. Then they're feeling their oats. They call me the next day. They call you the next day, and you can hear it in their voice instantly. And you're like, uh-oh, what happened? Did your dog die? Hopefully not. Did your girl cheat on you? Hopefully not. No, what happened? Yeah, man, I was up 2,000, and man, I liked Washington last night, and I put 3,000 on Washington. I'm trying to have a week, and now I'm 4-1, and I'm down $1,300, and I want to take my phone.
Well, that's imbecilic.
And throw it against the wall every time I hear this, and unfortunately, I hear it all the time. People don't know what they're doing when it comes to sports gambling, and they blame others. Right? It has nothing to do with others.
Well, we've talked about this in prior shows that most people make their largest bets when they're down money as opposed to making the largest bets when they're up money. It's only because their mentality, you know what it is? What do we talk about all the time? Memory.
Yeah, no memory.
They know them in the back of their minds. Getting back to earlier in the show, people that listen, I'm going to say it again, they know in their hearts the reason they call us. It's just a matter of fessing up, folks.
And understand that you can't do this on your
Yeah,
own.
you can't.
So as I mentioned earlier, I did Salisbury show this morning down in Houston, and we have the Taking Vegas pick 6.
What do you think you're going to put him to sleep by?
Oh, nah, you know what? He beat me last week. He was 3-0. I was technically 2-0-1 last week.
I'm gonna bet on you.
I over the course of the season. But yo, listen, Sean is great, man. Sean is a former NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
he knows his stuff, man. He's
a sharp guy.
I'll tell you his games. He went with Florida. Plus 14. He went Green Bay, minus 11 Monday night. Figured that I believe he gave a stat, which is a great stat, that in the LaFleur era with Rodgers, they are 6-0 after a loss, and they've won those 6 games by an average of 14 points. So he went with Green Bay. But
they haven't lost many games either, too. So it's not much of a I
go But here's the one that kind of confused me with him. He was on Oklahoma minus 22.5. That's a big number. I know Nebraska stinks. That's a big number.
Team who hasn't stopped anybody in years.
Yeah, like you laying points. But listen, he went 3-0 last week. So, I mean, and he knows his stuff.
What's the story with Lincoln Riley? Is the bloom off the rose for him? He's not being courted by the NFL like he was in prior years.
I'll tell you why. Because I finally think the NFL figured out that these college coaches don't really know what they're doing. They just win because they out-talent their other teams. Like, you got a guy like Urban Meyer. He's going to get exposed.
Well, he's going to have, it's just, and I hate to wish this upon anybody, but he'll have his midseason either heart attack or nervous breakdown sometime during the course of this year.
How about one game and they're already talking to go with USC? He's such a clown, man.
He can't make it up.
So here are my 3 games that I gave out for the weekend. And again, I did this on Salisbury show this morning. I like the Steelers. I think the Raiders are in a really tough spot. They played the Monday night game. And now they're traveling across the country. They lose a day of preparation. They're traveling through time zones. And Baltimore is a physical football team, right? So, Baltimore, that game took a lot out of them. And now they get over to another physical football team in Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh might be better on defense than Baltimore.
They might be.
I think so.
They might be. And they might be better on offense then because once they get going, they got some talent there.
You just got to keep Roethlisberger away from the catering table as the season progresses because he looks a little lean so far this year.
He does look lean.
But that could change. That could be 15 pounds in a matter of a month with him.
So I had Pittsburgh. I went with Dallas plus 3.5. I know Dallas has some problems with the defense right now, but I think Dallas is going to have one of the top offenses in the league. They gave Tampa Bay all they could handle. Tampa Bay is probably the best team in the league, if not the best team, number 2. They probably could have won that game outright last Thursday. They had some extra days to prepare. The Chargers did not look good against Washington. That's not a good football team. So, I mean, I like Dallas there. And I went with Utah -9 against San Diego State. I think there's significant money being moved on San Diego State, and the line is going the other way.
Getting back to Dallas and their division, I mean, I know they're a prohibitive favorite to win the Eastern Division right now. Don't sleep on Philadelphia. They're good. They got some good lines on offense and defense.
Here's the deal, man. And I don't disagree with that, right? But I can't anyone who beats Atlanta.
No, but listen,
I don't trust Jalen Hurts.
As long as they, listen. All I'm saying is this: if you're going to compete in the NFL, you got to have a good offensive line and a good defensive line,
and they have it,
and on both, and they're both good on both sides.
So those are the 3 free picks I had. I gave you Sean's 3 free picks. You could also listen to that segment every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Houston time. So that's Central Time, 9 a.m. Central Time. I'm on for the next 35 weeks or so, and I have a great rapport with Sean. We do a great job. I did San Diego the night before. I've done Philadelphia, Denver, Miami. I've been on all over the place. But I really like that spot the most because I think Sean's the best one. So, guys, that's going to wrap up this podcast. Visit TakingVegas.com. Get some more free picks. Check us out on Instagram at TakingVegas. DM us the word free. Most importantly, visit SyndicatedPlayersClub.com. Just like it sounds, Richie Tulo has a monster football release going this weekend. It will be documented right on his website. Win, lose, or draw, but we know that's going to be a winner. SyndicatedPlayersClub.com right now. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll be back here on the Taking Vegas podcast on Monday. Enjoy the day.